Fire, I'll take you to burn. Fire, I'll take you to learn. I'll see you burn. You fought hard and you say you can earn, but all of it's gone to burn. Don't you mind you try to mind, you know you really miss.
Yo, Ram fans, welcome to the latest of the Swollapalooza. We're calling it the Fall Series. It's not Swollapalooza Thursday either, but it's going to start a series of shows leading up to the season, which is only 5 weeks away. I know there's a few frustrated people out there with football season, 4 games in, and the Rams not playing so well, and some people are looking forward to basketball getting started, and so am I. Obviously, my channel is dedicated to the CSU men's basketball program and also the Mountain West Conference basketball, and we'll be doing a series of shows leading up to the Creighton exhibition game, which is on October 25th, which I will be attending, and I'm trying to secure media credentials so we can so maybe do a live post-game show. We'll see what we can do. Here we go. Already, Jake is back. Jake, we're going to do a show. Believe me, we'll do something between now and the start of the year, just like we did last year, where we'll talk through. Jake is really good with the analytics, for those of you who haven't been around the channel very much. But Jake is really, really good with the analytics, and he will we'll look at the preseason prognostications from people like Bart Torvik and Ken Pomeroy and Evan Mia, and we'll look at breaking down the players and all this and that, and kind of talk through where we think this team is headed. I've got some ideas on it, but I like to do it with other experts. So anyway, I'm still waiting for John to show up. I don't know if he's having technical difficulties or not. Hopefully he'll be popping in shortly. But excited for John to be on. I am excited for John to be on. John, as you know, is a redshirt freshman who joined us last year as part of a 4-person recruiting class. Kyle Jorgensen, Jaden Stepp, Jon Mekonnen, and Darnez Slater. We've had Kyle on the show last year because he played and even started a bunch of games. Never had Jaden on. Jaden got in for a little bit of action, but he transferred to Montana State. John and Darnez are still in the program and still a very important cogs in the program as well. So we're looking forward to having him shortly. Before I get John in, I just want to go over some of the other things going on. As you know, I'm on all YouTube. I'm on X. And I've added Facebook Live as well. Here we go. John's in the studio, so we'll bring him on shortly. But I've added Facebook Live as well. I'm trying to expand just the reach of different people and reach different audiences. I was very excited with what happened last year, and actually very excited with the shows we did this summer, even in the downtime of the summer when people aren't as interested in basketball, and we had a lot of we had all the new portal guys on. We had Brandon Recksteiner. We had Josh Pasquarelli. We had Jace Butler. We had Carrie Booth. We had Augie Kiadoulis. And then we had the new coaches as well. We had Coach Filipovich, Coach P, who joined us from New Mexico via a long, lengthy career at Air Force. Jimmy Foster, who joined us from Bradley. And Cole Gentry, who joined us from Wright State. So I've had a lot of fun getting to know those people. But that's what tonight's show is all about, is for you folks to get to know Jon Mekonnen. And with that, I'm going to bring John on. If you have any questions for John, we're going to talk, but But if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them our way. John, how are you tonight? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am good. Everybody's excited to have you on. How was
Sir.
practice today?
It was good. We didn't really do much live because, a couple guys were hurt. But we got an off day tomorrow and then we should be good for Thursday to have a good practice. So
Yeah, that's good. I know you guys. I went to practice yesterday, and I made a comment to Ali. The quality of the practice, the pace is very very high. This team practices very very high, very 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 intense already, and with still a month to go before the almost 5 weeks before the first game. Oh, here we go. Here's a comment somebody will have on the show. Freshman guard JoJo McIver. Everybody's excited to have you on. So let's talk about. Let's get to know John. Let's get to know Jon Mekonnen. First, I have to ask you because I want to. Your last name Mekonnen, is that Ethiopian?
yeah, it's my dad's last name.
Okay, so yeah, so you come from Ethiopian background. Is there an Ethiopian national team in your future?
Uh, I don't think so. I've never been there to be honest. So I don't really have much of a connection. But I might go one summer with my dad because he goes every year, my father. So I might go with him sometime. I don't know. We'll see.
The reason I was asking was we had a player about 15 years ago named Andy Ogade, and Andy was of Nigerian descent. He grew up in the United States, but his parents were from Nigeria, and he ended up playing on the Nigerian Olympic team. So he got to play in the Olympics, which I think is the ultimate. You guys may look to the NBA. I've been a guy who've always loved the Olympics, and I always thought that was the
Yeah.
greatest thing, was to be able to represent a country. Anyway, so you were you born in? You're from the Minneapolis area.
Yeah.
Your whole time you grew up out there the whole time.
Yeah, I grew up in like the suburbs, kind of like 20 minutes from Minneapolis, the city, um, in a city called Burnsville, and then I moved to Egan, which is like they're really close. So yeah, and then I lived there pretty much like my whole childhood. So
Did so growing up? I always ask the other guys this. What did you play a variety of sports growing up?
yes, my dad pretty much put me into everything, like from swimming, soccer, track, basketball, of course. The only sport I didn't play, I think, was football. So Um, pretty much I did everything. Yeah.
Save the body. I know
Yeah,
Rex Steiner
exactly.
was a football player when he was.
Yeah. That's exactly why I never played. I didn't want to get hurt. So
I was going to say, but we have experience with players from Minnesota at CSU who are football players. So with Roddy.
yeah. Yeah.
So you played soccer, you swam, track and field. What was your event in track?
I ran everything. I ran short and long distance. So I just loved to run when I was younger. So
I'm interested only. I was a runner. I was a middle distance runner.
oh
I
really?
gravitated toward that and moved away from sports like basketball because I wasn't good enough. When did you start focusing on basketball?
Um, to be honest, when I started getting taller and um, soccer wasn't really as big of a like a I mean, I could have been a goalie maybe, but I was trying to put my height to use. So um, I started playing basketball more, and I wasn't really interested in soccer as much. So yeah, I'd say about ninth grade is when I started taking it seriously. Um, but I always kind of played for fun. So
Okay, so ninth grade. Did you start playing AAU at the same time, or?
yeah, yeah, I started playing AAU around then. And I was really like raw, I would say. I wasn't really talented, but I always had the athleticism, the height. I was always kind of fast, so um, but I feel like the talent didn't really like the skill didn't really come in until I don't know, a couple years later, maybe my junior year of high school, maybe my senior year probably. So
Were you tall growing up? I mean, was that did you? I was short. I was always short, as you know. I'm only 5'9", but I was I was tiny. Some guys start out smaller, some guys sprout, and then other guys hit growth spurts early. Were you taller early?
Yeah, I was always tall, to be honest. I kind of had two growth spurts, so one like in middle school, and then another one when I was younger. So,
So
but
did they
I've
did they
always
did
been.
they did they when we had anytime we had a tall guy in junior high school, middle school, junior high school, they had to be the big man. They had to play the post. Were you forced to play the post?
Yes, I was. Uh, yeah, I was a big man for the majority of my younger years. I would say probably junior years when I kind of started, expanding my game a little more.
So you made the transition from post player to more of a perimeter player, touching the ball a little more and facing the basket a little more, shooting the ball a little more from the outside.
Yeah, for sure. And then I would say even like when I got here was like a big difference from high school in terms of like how I was playing like my game. Cause I never came off like ball screens or nothing before I got here. I was still more of like a screen setting, post up guy even my senior year of high school because I
Oh,
was
really?
just bigger. Yeah, I was bigger than everybody, I was like stronger. So but in I mean in college it's not the same. So I kind of figured that out and I had to expand my game even more. So that was a good learning experience.
So when you were growing up, were you a T Wolves fan?
Yeah, I was a Timberwolves fan, but honestly, the first team I really liked was the Heat because of LeBron and the big three. That's when I started watching basketball. So that was like my favorite, like the Heat and Spurs rivalry. I grew up watching that. So
Is LeBron your guy? Are you a LeBron guy, not a Kobe guy?
yeah, LeBron for sure.
I was a Dwayne Wade guy with the Heat. I loved
Really,
Dwayne Wade when he played for
he
the
yeah,
Heat. He was.
he
I
was
think
my
he's about the
favorite.
most underrated player to ever play in
Yeah,
the NBA.
yeah. At
Think
one
he's a
point, he was
top
my favorite
top 10
player.
player, top 15 player in the NBA. You don't hear many people talk about him. So
Yeah.
so you played high school AAU ball. I was going to, one of the things I noticed, I watched videos and stuff. I saw a video on YouTube of a game where you played against a guy named Kyle Jorgensen, right?
Yes, sir. Kyle, man. We played together when we were 15 and 16 in AAU, and that's where we
Okay.
kind of met each other and got to know each other. So we were teammates, and then senior year I saw his team on the schedule, and I was like, oh man, got to go up against him. So
What was
um,
that like? I'm just curious because that when we were growing up, we didn't have AAU opportunities. We just all played high school stuff, and we hated. It didn't matter what high school our opponents were from. We didn't like them. What was it like having somebody who's a friend who you have to go against competitively?
I mean, at the end of the day, like we were going at it in the game, but we're still cool and whatever. But in the game, we were definitely competing. So I think a Coach Cooley was there watching the game. So we really got to it in front of him, and they ended up winning that game. They got the best of us, but and I was in foul trouble. I think most of that game,
Bad
but
calls, right?
terrible, man, terrible. But yeah, Kyle, a great player though for sure. So props to
What's
him.
interesting, you played against Kyle in high school. There's two other guys on the team this year that played against each other in high school. Jace Butler and Darnell Slater actually played against each other when they were in high school. There's a YouTube video of them too, and I don't know. I just think that's kind of neat, kind of fun that
Yeah.
former opponents are teammates now. So getting back to kind of that you started talking about you and playing Kyle and Coach Cooley being there. Talk about your recruitment in general, not even just CSU, but your recruitment in general. You were offered by you had a lot of interest.
Yeah.
When did you start? Did you start getting recruited your junior year?
Yeah, I would say junior year, like junior summer, is when coaches started to reach out. And at first, there was a lot of D2s, and like I think I had like three of them offer me before I got my first Division 1 offer. But the Division 1 offer actually came the almost a year after my first D2, which was I think it was my 17U year when I was playing AAU, and that's when I got all my interest and offers and all that stuff. That's where everything came in.
What was your first offer?
It's Colorado State actually.
Was it?
So
Oh, cool.
yeah, Medved
And was it
Medved
was
called
it
me.
was it Coach Cooley?
Nah, it was Medved. It was
Was it
Medved.
Coach Medved that called? Okay.
He was at my
Okay,
game,
but
and then like
Coach
right
Cooley
after,
had seen you play. How many of the other guys came up to see you play?
it was Medved most of the time, honestly. Cooley was
Okay,
there a couple times, but it was mostly Medved.
Coach Medved, cool. And other schools that offered.
Yeah, Loyola Chicago, that was up there for, another option. I had a few high majors that like interest that never really like offered me. Um, and then I think I had Wyoming, and then St. Thomas was, uh, close to home. So, and then a couple others too, Ohio.
Yeah. So why CSU?
Honestly, I was on it. This was one of the only schools that I took a visit to. And when I was out here, it honestly felt like a place like where I could really like get better, which is like what I really like want to do is I want to get to the next level of my career. I want to keep on expanding my game and be the best player I could possibly be. So I feel like this is a place that I could do that. And you can really tell like the coaches like care, you know. So and through my experience here, like nothing has changed. Like it's the same. It's exactly how I expected when I committed here out of high school. So
You mentioned you were recruited. You were offered by Loyola. You guys play them this year. You looking
yeah,
forward to that? Meeting up with the coaching staff there at all?
for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those guys were heavily recruiting me. So um, I'll definitely be excited for that one.
Yeah. So you chose CSU. Interested. So did any of the thought of Roddy coming out of Minnesota have an influence on you coming to CSU?
Honestly, no. Um, I really had no influence. It was just like, I mean, I knew of him, and it was cool to see that connection there. And Kyle obviously committed a little before me,
Did he?
but it was really just my own kind of decision, and it just happened to work out like that. Um, but I felt like that was the best choice for me. So
Yeah, for it, and just to let people know, John was somewhere ranked about 180th in the class of 2024 out of 247. He was the highest ranked recruit in that four-person class, and I believe to this day he's the highest ranked 247 recruit to come to us out of high school. We have some that have been higher who have transferred, but John, I believe, is the highest ranked recruit to come to CSU. I think 180 something, and ranked pretty highly in the state of Minnesota, which a lot of people, I follow this stuff. Minnesota is loaded with a lot of good Division I basketball players, and I used to have this discussion with Roddy and Isaiah Stevens about who has better basketball, Texas or Minnesota? And Isaiah would say, well, we have more from Texas. But the answer was always back, yeah, there's a lot. The population is so much bigger. Minnesota is
yeah,
loaded with some great players. You had Roddy came from there, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Suggs, just all kinds of great players that are playing that gone on to the NBA that were, top picks in the lottery. And so I was excited when, both Kyle and you, and I know Kyle was a little less recruited, maybe a little more under the radar. But both you guys, from being from Minnesota, I knew you'd come in and be players. Uh, so you come to CSU. Did you know when did you know, or when did you decide you were going to redshirt?
yeah, that was a choice that coach had a conversation with me before the season started, and he kind of just told me the situation, like how much I was gonna end up playing if I did decide to not redshirt, and what his point of view was. And based off of that, he let me make my decision, and that's the decision I decided to make that I felt like was putting myself in the best position for my future. So,
Uh, I always imagine, I've never been, played at your level, been recruited at your level, that kind of thing. But I always wonder how hard, was it a hard decision to make? Because
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know if I could sit out a year.
very, very hard decision. And it was really hard at first, knowing that I wasn't going to play and I still had to, practice, do everything with the team. And but after a while, I just kind of accepted it and I used it as an opportunity to just, get better and learn from, the experiences that it gave me. So,
you know, the thing with the red shirt, you get to do a lot of things in terms of, scout team stuff, learning what other teams are doing as well. Do you think not just your own development, not just learning the CSU system, but do you think that some of the things of being on the scout team, do you think that helped you as well?
1,000%. I had like so many mental reps, of just all different types of plays, and that kind of stuff kind of sticks with you. So, um, it was a great learning experience, and I'm really glad I got to experience that because I definitely do think that it helped me.
So you got to have a, you got the red shirt. You had to sit out. You had the unfortunate part of sitting out, but you got to participate on a team that really was a lot of fun, not just from a fan perspective, but I know from your perspective too. You guys had a lot of fun. You can see the picture I'm using in my background. You're coming up. That's a Clifford dunk. You can see you and Darnez and Jaden coming off the bench. You must have had a lot of fun last year, going all the way as far as you guys did to the tournament.
Yeah, so many memories, so many, good times. I'm just grateful I got to experience that, it's a blessing. So,
Do you think it made you hungrier?
oh yeah, for 100%. I want to get back to March Madness because just seeing that even from the sidelines, like it makes you want to work 10 times harder just to get back to that point.
Yeah. So before we start to, turn to, this season and this summer, I wanted to ask you, that we go through the wonderful experience, players and coaches and fans alike, of the portal after right when the season ends. And you chose to come back to CSU. You, Kyle, and Darnez chose to come back to CSU. Were there any thoughts of going into the portal, or was it always going to be CSU?
Honestly, I knew I was gonna stay. There was a couple of schools that like were recruiting me out of high school that reached out kind of, but honestly, it was a no-brainer for me. Like since I've been here, it's everything I expected out of high school. There was no like I wasn't surprised by anything. There was nothing that I didn't expect. And even though I did redshirt, I feel like I really developed and I got, I made so much progress after year one, and that's the main thing for me. So I just want to continue to get better and better, and I feel like this is the best place for me to do that. So
Yeah, obviously you've obviously put in the work in the off season. I had a lot of guys on a lot of the newcomers we had out of the portal. As I mentioned in my opening, I've had Brandon and Josh and Jace and Carrie and Augie on. And to the person, I asked him. I said, of the players you've played with, who's somebody who stood out, and virtually every one of them pointed to Jon Mekonnen. They said, John. I said, why? They go, well, he's playing really well and he's shooting the ball really well. You've made great strides. Your shooting has gotten a lot better. You put a lot of work into that, haven't you?
for sure, for sure. That was a really big emphasis for me because I like to drive a lot too, so that's a really strong part of my game. So being able to shoot kind of balances that out, and it makes you so much harder to guard.
How much weight have you put on since you've come to CSU? You're close to 200 pounds now, right? Just under, right around
Yeah,
there.
I'm a little over 200 on a good day, I would say. But yeah, when I came in, I was about 190 probably.
Oh, okay. So
Um,
10, 15 pounds.
yeah, so
Kind of
decent.
like Neek. Speaking of Neek, you got to play with him. One of the interesting things that you know, I can't remember who I was talking to when you got here. I said, I asked, I said, what are these freshmen like? And somebody, I might have been somebody on the coaching staff, it might have been one of the players that had been practicing, that said, Jon is the closest thing to Neek. He has a chance to be another Neek Clifford. His body, not just his body type, but it's his athleticism. And they always, the other thing they always pointed to was your defensive abilities. They said, there's no doubt Jon will be an all conference and all defensive team guy at some point in his career. Have you always been a good defender?
No, I haven't actually. That's something that's really just been, I used to not really play defense, I would say. But now,
I'm only laughing because I couldn't guard my own shadow.
yeah, I used to just kind of I used to only like block shots really. But because I was a bigger I would guard bigs when I was like younger, so I wouldn't really play any like perimeter defense, but that's something that I kind of started doing like later on, like probably junior year, senior year, started guarding like all positions, and I feel like doing that helped me, become a better defender. So, and then obviously when I got to college, there was a lot more concepts that I had to learn on defense. So I think, having that, especially like guarding like you said, like Neek, like guys like that, because like I would be his matchup like pretty much every time in practice. So guarding a guy like that, I don't know what else could make you better at defense. So and him guarding me too, it was a great learning experience, and I think I got so much better just because of it.
Yeah, well, it showed this summer and it's showing now. I try and get to. I've been to several practices. I try and watch, and it's fun watching this team come together. I've talked to a couple other guys about it. I'd love to get your thoughts. What do you think about the depth of this team?
I think there's really not like that much of a gap between like the players. Like it's really like we could really play a lot of guys. I feel like, we're really talented, and we have good guys who understand the game well. But I think we're really deep, like deeper than last year. For
Yeah, I think in fact it might have been Kyle that I talked to, and Kyle said, the depth is really, really good. And he said, if things can come together, he said this team could be every bit as good or even better than last year's team. Of course, that remains to be seen. But
yeah.
from your perspective, in terms of the new players, I mean, you've been around Darnez, Kyle, Rashawn, Nicola. So all the guys returning, but of the new players, who are the ones that who are the ones? Is there any one person that stands out to you as really looking? You played against the guys last year. You practiced against them. Anybody that you think stands out that you think is gonna step up for CSU this year, other than Jon?
Yeah. I would say Brandon for sure. That guy can really shoot it, and he makes all the right plays, all the right reads. He's a really like solid, point guard, and I feel like he's like we only have like two guys at that position, so he's gonna be playing a lot, and that's really good for us. So
Do you think one of the things he adds, he's built pretty well. He comes from
yeah,
a pretty athletic wrestling family. This year's team, it's funny, I talked when I had Jason Phillips on a show over the summer. He said this year's team was way ahead of last year's team in terms of conditioning, in terms of strength and conditioning. Do you feel one of the things, I think this team can be really, really physical, maybe even more physical than last year's team. Am I crazy?
no, you're not.
Yeah, it's I see Brandon, I see Pasquarelli, I see Butler, I see Slater,
Yeah,
I see even even the freshmen, but guys like you and Kyle and obviously Rashawn
yeah,
is a beast. But it looks like a pretty physical team out there. Do you feel it more after practice?
Yes, definitely. You know, every also like they put a big emphasis on like constantly like tagging up, you know, going for offensive rebounds and you know, having those guys constantly just going at you, trying to, you know, rebound the ball, it just like it takes a toll. So doing that to other teams is, you know, is good for us. So
Yeah, it's been fun watching this team come together. Now, you guys, you have I know you have some activities. You have a intra squad scrimmage, I think on October 18th on a football weekend, where the public will get to see you guys play, and then the following weekend you go to Omaha to play at Creighton. Your family going to come see you there?
yeah, it's gonna be fun for sure to finally play after, you know, sitting out last year. It's gonna be good to be back out there for sure. So
Yeah, I always wonder that you guys practice a lot before you play games. You really do. Basketball, it's a year-round thing now, right?
yeah, yeah. We do practice a lot, you know, and I feel like there's nothing like playing though in like a real game, and I haven't had that experience for a while. So you know, I'm just really looking forward
Yeah, you
to the
must be
season. Can't
excited.
wait.
It's funny. I had a wise coach when I was younger who said you can learn and learn and learn all you want in practice, but ultimately the game is the teacher, and and you
Yeah,
learn by playing games. And so that's where guys ultimately figure out a way to get better after evaluating themselves against other teams. So you got to be excited about Creighton and then kick starting the season. Oh, I have a message from one of my regulars, Taylor. Fall is in the air. Moby Madness up next. You looking forward to playing Moby?
for sure, man. I seen the environment last year. You know, it's crazy. So being able to be out there, I'm just like, so excited, man. Like I can't even put it into words.
Yeah, you sit a year, you get Moby Madness, you get a state pride jersey, you get an orange Aggie jersey at some point. You get to do all those fun things. We never lose an orange, right?
Yes, sir.
So anyway, yeah, it's I'm trying to think. I don't really have much more anything I need to know from your perspective. What else about the team do I need to know before I let you go?
Man, it's gonna be a great season. That's all.
That's it. Looking forward to
Yeah.
getting started and getting out in front of the fans. So, John, I'm going to let you go. We've spent almost a half hour. It went really, really fast. Thank you so much. I do, trust me, I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedules. I know it's about to get crazy busy as the season goes. I know it's busy now with schoolwork and practice and all the stuff you have going on. So thank you so much for joining me. And we'll have you on again as the season goes on.
Of course. I appreciate you having me on.
You bet. We'll see you. Have a great evening. I'll see you around practice probably next Monday. Have a
You
great
as
week.
well.
You
See
bet.
ya.
See you, John. Jon Mekonnen. You folks are going to like watching John play. Like I said, Neek is a good comp. John is probably at the same place Neek was at the same point in their careers. If you remember, Neek barely played as a freshman. Started playing a little bit as a sophomore, played his junior year, started a little bit as sophomore year, and then started his junior year at most of the games at CU, and built himself into a 5.3 rebound guy by the time he's through his junior year. I think we have a good chance to see more out of John. He's a good outside shooter. He's athletic, gets to the rim as well. He's long. Like he said, he's a little over 200 pounds, about 6'8", but he plays a perimeter player. And the one thing that I've noticed is, when I go watch this team practice, this is probably, I won't say they're crazy tall, but it's probably the biggest the biggest CSU team in recent years. When you got a Nicola Joppa at 6'11", and a Jorgensen at 6'9", and a Mbemba at 6'7", and none of them are lightweights. I think Jop is probably at least 230. Kyle's in the 230s. Rashawn played at 250, 255 last year. I think he's slimmed down a little bit, but Rashawn looks really, really strong. And so you got the three bigs, and then you get into the players like Carey Booth at 6'10", who's more of a perimeter, a stretch four. And Carey may look slender, but Carey probably goes about 220 pounds. He's not skinny. And then Augie Kiadoulis. Augie is 6'8" and about 230, and he's a horse. And then you get to the three position, the small forward. You got John, as I said, at about 6'8" and a little over 200 pounds, and you got Jevin Muniz at 6'6" and probably about 215, 220. All of them built like rocks. And then you get into the guards, and we've got some good sized guards as well with Darnez Slater and Jace Butler, both in the 6'3", 6'4" range, probably go 190 to 200 pounds. You got Rex Steiner, who's about 6'1" and goes probably about 195. He's built like Rex Steiner's built like a strong safety. He's an ex-football player, dad, a famous professional wrestler. And then you get Josh Pasquarelli, who's about 6'3" and probably 195. He's a horse as well. And then the freshman, JoJo McIver, who, by the way, has been getting better and better. JoJo is probably playing his way into minutes, but he's already up to about 180 pounds, I think, as a freshman. He's built well. Docker Tedeschi. Docker still needs a little more weight, but Docker, you can even see Docker's the work he's been doing in the offseason to build his strength, and he's starting to do some pretty good things. Whether he plays this year, I don't know, but I think you got a lot of guys fighting for playing time, and I think we're in a really, really good place with this team in terms of physicality, in terms of athleticism. Now it's just a matter of five guys playing. Just my overall observations. I think that I think Pasquarelli is really starting to emerge as a scorer. He is a great shooter. If you watch the show I had him on earlier this summer. He was a 45% three-point shooter until like his last 2 or 3 games of the year, and he dropped just under 40%. He hit a bad spell, but he was a 45% three-point shooter he played for Marist College back on the East Coast, and people are going to really like the way he comes off perimeter screens and fires away, and he doesn't miss much. People are really going to like him. Rex Steiner, as John mentioned, classic point guard, makes a lot of good decisions, good leadership skills. That's the one thing I like about watching him, and he can shoot as well. And so if you look at his numbers at Virginia Tech, they weren't really good. When I had Ali on over the summer. And by the way, I'd encourage you to go back if you have a time and go back and look at some of the interviews, even with Ali talking about the players. But he was really, really high on Brandon. He thought Brandon was in an offense that didn't really fit him, and he's in an offense where he can play on the ball and off the ball as well, and take advantage of some of his scoring abilities. So looking really, really good. Jevin Muniz is a glue player at the 3. He and John will fight it out for minutes at that 3 spot. The 4, Carey Booth and Augie Kiadoulis. Augie, I didn't see him. He didn't practice on Monday. He sat. I don't know what was going on. Guys go in and out. Guys get banged up. Guys sprain ankles. Guys, hurt shoulders or whatever. And it happens in every program. But Carey Booth is really starting to come on, and there will be a battle at that 4 position. So, and it's good because the depth is there. Carey is long. Carey is athletic. Carey can shoot from the perimeter, and you're not going to block his shot because he's 6'10". So if he's open and you still try and close out on him, you're not going to be able to. He won't be able to do anything on a closeout. there was a shooting drill last week, I think. I want to say last Thursday, where I won't even tell you how many he made in a little over 2 minutes from the spots they shoot at from the 3-point world. But he made a obscene number of threes, way more than anybody else on the team. And this is a team of good shooters. So Carey looking really, really good. And I will say this, Rashawn Mbemba will have, I believe, a huge year in the middle. He is looking a little trimmer, looking healthier, still setting big screens, but his movement is a lot better. And we're seeing, you'll see him become you'll see more leadership skills out of him. I expect Rashawn and Brandon Rexsteiner to emerge as the kind of the floor leaders, and then it's up to the rest of the guys to develop as well in terms of their leadership skills. But this team has come together, as I mentioned to John. I talked a little bit with Ali in the middle. He came over and said hi during practice, and I said, "Boy, the pace of this practice is really good." And he said, "Yeah, they're moving good." And there were some things they were doing. He hammered on them on a few things. There were some things they weren't doing real well, but they still have 5 weeks to get ready for the first game, 4 weeks to get ready, a little less than 4 weeks to get ready for that Creighton exhibition. And it is a true exhibition game. It's not a closed door scrimmage. So as I mentioned in the pregame or the pregame in the opening, I'm going to Creighton for sure. And if I'm working to get a media credential, and my goal is to do a live post-game show from Press Row. There won't be any media coverage that day for CSU, I don't think, because it's the day of the Wyoming football game. And I think the Wyoming game is in the afternoon, mid-afternoon. The Creighton game starts at I believe 6 or 7 p.m. Central Time. It'll end, I believe, at 8 or 9. And so I'm flying out Saturday, go on Press Row, and then see if I can do a post-game show and try and line up some people for interviews post-game, see if they can come join me where I can have the only post-game coverage. So it'll be fun. Looking forward to Creighton. I wish I could say something obnoxious of, we own Creighton. We beat them in 2021-22 season. We beat them by double digits down in the where'd we play? The Grand Caymans, wherever it was, where we won the tournament. Roddy went for like 36 points and made like 8 threes and went off. And then 2 years ago, the 23-24 team, 2 seasons ago, played them in Kansas City in the final of the Hall of Fame tournament in Kansas City, and rolled them to the tune of, what was it, 69-47, or we beat them by 21, 22 points. And so we own Creighton. Well, this will be different. That's a tough arena. That's 17,000 people, and you can bet they'll sell out. They love their basketball. It's a great program and a great arena, and they are picked to be a top 25 team by a lot of people. And so it'll be a good test for our guys to play in front of a very difficult crowd against a very, very talented Blue Jay team. And so I'll jokingly say they're in trouble. We own them, but it'll be a good test for our guys and to get them ready for the opening game on November 3rd, the Monday before Election Day. I haven't committed the schedule to memory yet. I will do a show on Thursday night, and I'll do the non-conference schedule. I did that last year, and I'll rate them by the quality of the opponent. We'll go in reverse order. What was interesting was last year, my cut line. If you go back and watch that show I did in last October, I talked about one team. I said, this one's a tricky one at home. And I mentioned UC Riverside, that they weren't going to be a pushover. And lo and behold, we figured out a way to lose that game. It was close to close to a bottom. We talked about, Washington being tough. We lost to them. We knew VCU was going to be tough. We knew Ole Miss was probably going to be our toughest game. They turned out to be the toughest game. So I will go through that schedule. My puppy just wandered in he's on leash. He's going out to go potty before he goes to bed. I'll have Bowen. Those of you who follow know that I have a puppy named Bowen, named after Bowen Born. Bowen is becoming a great puppy. He's now over 20 pounds. When he joined us at the end of June, he was 7 pounds. So he's over 20 pounds. Wonderful, wonderful puppy. Anyway, getting back to the non-con, I'll do a show on Thursday night and we'll talk about it. And then next week I'll have Darnez Slater on. I'd hope to have Darnez on this week. He had something come up and had to bail on me. And so he'll join me next week and we'll get to know Darnez. And then I'll bring in a couple of the other newbies. I'll bring in JoJo and JoJo McIver and Dr. Tedeschi. Both have been on the show. JoJo came on, I believe, in I want to say November, and Docker right around Christmas time after they had committed to and signed their letters of intent with CSU, and so we got to know them. I'll have them on again, and they're really, really they're going to be very valuable players in this CSU program. I don't know how much. Like we talked about with Jon, the depth of this team is really, really high, and it'll be tough for freshmen to get in there. I think JoJo might sneak in for some minutes. Docker, I think, is a good candidate to redshirt, but you never know. There can be injuries, things can happen. You never know, and so I don't rule anything out at this point. So we'll do those. That's what the upcoming shows, as I talked about earlier with Jake. We'll have Jake come in and we'll do some analytics. I love Jake for his analytics. I'm an analytics guy. We might start by talking about Nick Clifford's analytics relative to the rest of the Mountain West last year and why he got really screwed by not being named the Player of the Year. Speaking of Nick, I'm rocking the jersey. It's the autographed jersey from Nick. Nick had his first big media day, and that was out on social media. And Isaiah Stevens finally has his number assigned. He wore 40 with the Summer League team with Sacramento. He is, if you don't know, he's with Sacramento. He wore 40 with them, and now he's got number 24. So we're looking forward to catching up. I'm going to try and do a show similar to what I did last year with good Ram fan Sam Hodling. I'm sorry, I always mispronounce his name. We did a European travel log, and we visited Joe Palmer, Pat Cartier, and who else did I? Now that was it. This year I'm going to try and catch up with Joel Scott. Try and catch up with Chandler Jacobs, who's in Spain. Joel is in England, in London. We'll try and catch up with those guys. And then I'm threatening Sam that we need to figure out a day to do a side trip to Sacramento and maybe see if we can catch up with Nick and Isaiah. But anyway, we'll do some catching up with guys. Oh, Jalen Lake as well. We'll try and catch up with Jalen, who's playing already played his first game in Denmark. And there were some highlights on social media. He was making everything. Of course, I don't know how many shots, but it was a highlight video. So he made everything. We're just going to assume he made everything. He didn't miss a shot. But anyway, we'll catch up with that. So I've got we'll start packing material in. We'll start being on several times a week, 2-3 times a week leading into the season. And then we'll get into the 4 or 5 shows a week. We'll do Monday morning cup of coffee. We'll do Thursday, Swollapalooza Thursdays. We'll do post-game shows. We might even sneak in some, obviously we'll do a Mountain West show, with my buddy, Tom Moser. And we'll start really packing it in. This is going to be a really, really, really fun season. Before I leave, again, if you have any thoughts, any ideas on shows, send them to me. I'd love if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm a long way from getting monetized. I'm not worried about that. We're working on sponsorship. I don't have a sponsor for today, but we're working on sponsorship for subsequent shows. My audience, the audience here, the community has really expanded. It's beyond. It's gone better than I thought it would, to be honest with you, the first year. And so I'm investing in things. The sponsorship would help in terms of sending me to maybe some road games. I bought a new web camera today. Hopefully the quality of the video that we're showing right now is a little bit better. You can see the whiskers on my face. We're streaming at 1080, not at 720. Higher number of frames per second. I'm getting real technical. Anyway, but we're and then try and get us to the. We're going to see if we can get to the Mountain West Conference tournament this year. Raise enough money to pay some expenses and get us to the Mountain West Conference tournament for the final rodeo, as I like to think of it. This great conference of ours that we're going to see. I'm excited about the Pac-12, but this is going to be a hard season for me. I love this conference, always have. We lost BYU and Utah. TCU wasn't a loss in terms of basketball, but we've added some great programs with Boise State and Utah State. We've had the core with New Mexico and UNLV and San Diego State and Wyoming. I'll even mention Wyoming. They've had some good teams, and they are a tough venue to play. Obviously, Air Force and Fresno, Nevada has been added as well. They've added a lot, so I'm gonna miss this conference, and so I'm looking forward to covering it. But I'd really like to get to that final tournament and be able to do some shows from there. So anyway, if you have ideas, send them to me, crackerscollegehoops@gmail.com. Subscribe if you get the chance. Give me some feedback. Leave some comments at the video if you're watching it post live. You can always watch it, obviously. But anyway, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you, everybody. I've got a good live audience today. Thank you for making this this is the most fun community. We're just getting this thing kickstarted. This is going to be a wonderful, wonderful time as we watch this team develop together, grow together, compete together, starting really, really soon. So thanks again. Have a great evening, everybody. Go Rams.